pull up, know what's going down. Foot on the gas, ain't no slowing down.
Well, we are back with another episode of A Shocking Good Time. My name is Hector Pino again. This is B. Pino, and we have our amazing friend, Mike Shirinian from the Elbow Room. Man, Mike, thank you so much for being with us. You've been a longtime friend to us, and we just want to talk to you a little bit today about your story, man, about you being here in Fresno, about the iconic restaurant that is in Fig Garden, the Elbow Room, and just, where it started, how you started, just a little bit about your journey, man. Thank you for being here.
No, Hector and B, I really appreciate it. It's really a joy when you work with people and, you take care of us at the Elbow Room so incredibly. And I'm talking 7 days a week, but it's even beyond that. Technically, you really know what's going on. More importantly, you really care, and that shows. And I'm just so thankful, for Eric Bayless getting us, put together.
Yes.
And it's been a ride and a joy to be on the ride with you. And there's more to come. And everybody out there that might be listening, we're a 7-day-a-week business, being in the restaurant business.
Right.
Your service company, whether it's new construction or the service side of it, we can't do it without you. I know we're in the food and beverage business, but, having the expertise that you provide to us, I mean, if it's not working electrically, we
right.
are like finito, we're done. So anyway, I have tremendous gratitude to both of you, because I always know that you care, and the work product is sensational.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Yeah, I can definitely remember, moments of being at home and you or Eric calling, and like the patio lights being out, and I'm like, holy smokes, and getting there and, fixing whatever needs to be fixed, and then you making me sit down and have dinner with you after.
Yes, because your food is amazing.
Well, you're our friend, and you're our key, company to keep us going in 7 days a week. But, you were asking about my story. I came to Fresno when I was 19 to go to college, and I was going to play football and baseball. I came down in the middle of the year. I got hurt, and we had 5 guys living in a 2-bedroom townhouse because we were all broke kids. Mm-hmm. And I lived right out, which is Bulldog Lane now, but it's San Jose and
6th Street or 9th.
Yeah, right near there.
Yeah.
And we had no money. And ironically, I ended up, after, this would have been a couple of years later, so I was just barely 21, after one of my finals, somebody said, let's go have a beer. Well, I said, okay, where do you want to go? Well, they took me to this place called the Silver Dollar Hofbrau at Shaw and 41.
Yep.
And it was unbelievable, because I grew up in San Francisco. There was a place called Lefty O'Doul's, which was famous going back to the 40s. And it looked like the Silver Dollar, all mahogany. You go through the food line, they're hand carving the sandwiches, the bar, the whole bit. And I go in there and go, God, this looks like a bigger, nicer version of Lefty O'Doul's. The beers were ice cold frozen in the mugs.
Yeah.
So 2 days later, which is a Thursday, and I'm going to connect the dots because it's kind of mind-blowing how God works in certain ways. So 2 days later, we have another final. It's about 7 o'clock at night. Somebody says, hey, let's go have a beer. And I said, well, what was that place we went to the other night? And this is how I got my career started. They said, we'll go back to the Silver Dollar. So now we go back there. I'm standing up. It's 3 deep at the bar. I'm having a beer. I get a tap on the shoulder. I turn around, and it's one of the owners. He's got an apron on, and he kind of barks at me, and he goes, who are you? And I go, well, who are you? He goes, I'm the owner. Who are you? I said, I'm Mike Shirinian. He goes, who's your father? I said, Aram Shirinian. And he goes, there's no way. And I go, what do you mean? I'm confused. I said, you know my dad? He goes, yeah, because my dad had 2 bars in downtown San Francisco.
Oh, wow.
I never knew I was going to do this. He goes, I used to go to college at St. Mary's, which is in the East Bay, and we'd go in on the weekends. I used to drink in your dad's bars. I know your dad.
Oh, wow.
He said, besides going to school, what are you doing? And I go, I had a little job in the fashion fair. He goes, screw that. He said, now this is a Thursday night. He says, be here Monday night, black shoes, black pants, white shirt, and a black tie. You're going to attend bar here. So I tell him, I go, look, I'm the youngest kid. It's kind of hard to say you're the youngest kid now that I'm 71, right? But, I'm 21. And he goes, no. He says, just be here. I'll show you how to do it. So I quit this other job. I go to work, and I got a couple days a week. And now I'm going to school full time. Well, this thing within a couple of months works into, tending bar there from 6 at night till 2 in the morning, Tuesday through Saturday, going to school. And these three brothers, Jimmy, Sid, and Tommy Sagatellian, now their niece, Agnes Sagatellian, owns Valley Lavash on M Street. Okay,
Yeah,
and it's been there since like 1916.
It's that old bakery.
The bakery,
Yeah.
yes. And so that was a family connection to the Silver Dollar. We would get fresh baked bread at 5:30 in the morning. We'd get the first bread delivery. It was still warm. So I start there. I go through, I get a bachelor's degree and a master's degree. I'm working there full time. And these three brothers took me under their wing
Wow.
and taught me how they thought. And, they would be walking with me. Here's why what we're doing. Here's what I see. So from a service standpoint and then technically, now I have degrees in something different. I ended up leaving. I go to Palo Alto and I had a different career for a couple of years. I came back the day before Thanksgiving. This would have been 1979. My first stop is I go to the Silver Dollar. We're all hugging, and they go, "We need you tonight." Now, it's the night before Thanksgiving, which is, it's like 10 deep. It's asses and elbows. Right?
Yeah.
I go, okay. I go back, change. I go there. I work till 2 in the morning. 2 in the morning, okay. They say, be here in the morning. Now, we used to cook turkeys for people on Thanksgiving. Plus, they got the football games
Right.
on. We were open but not open, right?
Yeah.
But all the regulars would show.
Yeah.
Have a couple of cocktails before going to the family thing, and we'd sell 30, 40 whole turkeys. Here's your
Wow.
right. So now, the next morning, Jimmy Sagatellian, who was the one that ended up hiring me, and his two brothers are there, and they sit me down. Now I'm like 26 years old
At
then,
that time, yeah.
They said, look, we want to retire. We want you to come back to Fresno. Now I had this pretty incredible job, not in the restaurant business, in Palo Alto. And I used to do clinical research audiology, diagnosing hearing problems.
Oh, wow.
And in this facility, you know what collagen is, the injectable?
Yeah.
Okay, we invented collagen
Wow.
in this office. This was like ultra advanced. We were removing brain tumors. Okay, we
Wow.
developed the first laser in the world for microsurgery built into an operating microscope. Like you're looking through it, you're working with foot pedals. So instead of a handheld scalpel, you'd be zapping tumors and vaporizing them, and it was much safer. So all these cutting edge, no pun intended,
Yeah.
things. I'm in this facility. I'm a published author in the field.
Wow.
So I have this very academic. We had the first ear
Portfolio,
bank.
yeah.
It was unbelievable. And I leave it. My mother about flipped out,
my
like,
gosh.
what is wrong with
Yeah.
you? To go back to Fresno and to go in the bar and restaurant business. So I go back and I'm working 18 hours a day. They're training me, and I would be in there like at 6:30 in the morning. I'd learn the books and banking, go through, get the restaurant set up, work till about 1:30 in the afternoon, go home, take a nap till 4, shower, change, be back at 5, work till 2 in the morning. Did that
Wow.
every single day for almost a year.
Holy smokes.
And then I had a buy-in option. So when they sold the business, it was contingent upon me being the manager. And a dear friend that I grew up with up in San Francisco, Duffy Wallach, he came down, and he was a co-manager with me, an owner, and his parents invested. And so anyway, long story short, I had a buy-in option. I didn't have any money, none, but I had a buy-in option.
Yeah.
So I started, that was 1980. Sold out in 83. I went to New York and did a restaurant project, came back to Fresno, kind of kicked around, went back to the Silver Dollar in 89 till 94 with my former partners. And then I left and bought the Elbow Room on June 1st, which is 2 days from now, June 1st of 1994. So it'll be 31 years. But the foundation that those three brothers gave me, they're long passed away. It's not that I haven't had ups and downs, but I've never been unclear about what I was wanting or needing or trying to do.
Yeah,
That's really good.
You're in a construction business. You can have factors, beyond your control. And you guys are a great company, so this is not like you don't know what you're doing. But sometimes the interest rates could be high, construction, whatever it could be. So I was blessed to work with three guys that really. They taught me how they thought.
That's great.
And that's carried me through all these years. And again, June 1st, it'll be 31 years at the Elbow Room. And, thanks to your expertise, this building we're in is like craziness because it was a dental office originally long before I was there. Then it was Borelli's restaurant. Bob Borelli had an Italian restaurant. Then Dave Milutanovich, that now has had the Manhattan at Weston Bullard. Dave was in there. So it was empty. The Elbow Room, what became the Elbow Room, was empty, for 2.5 years. When I bought the Elbow Room, it was at Palm and Shaw, which is where the Limelight is now.
Yeah.
Brandon Smitkamp owns it.
Yeah.
He's a dear friend. Brandon lives across the street from me, and he's really, really good guy and doing well. He has he has about 5 restaurants now. So anyway, that's how it got started. June 1st, 1994.
Wow.
In March of '97, because we were bursting at the seams, we moved into Fig Garden Village because it had sat empty after Dave Milutanovich left. And thanks to Steve Lutton and Rick Nisbet that owned Cambridge Homes, who Lennar bought, they let their subs and their GC, their their supervisor, build out the Elbow Room because it had to be just completely redone.
Yeah.
And I didn't have enough money. Thanks to Bob Longetti, who's a retired banker now. Bob had financed the Silver Dollar, and Bob said, Mike, I believe in you. And he's the one on a signature loaned me money. He was he was the president of Regency Bank.
Yeah.
And Bob, hopefully you're listening out there sometime on this because, hey, Bob Longetti made it happen for me. I mean, I had good credit, didn't have much money, owned the Elbow Room for, maybe it was 2 years at that juncture, a little over 2 years. But the move into Fig Garden Village was a quantum leap, and it really legitimized the Elbow Room. It went from kind of this old-style, dark, smoky bar. Now we're in Fig Garden Village, and then a couple of years later do a build-out on the patio, and it just grew. And you've been, thank God Electric Power Source has been with me for at least, gosh almighty, the last 10 or 11 years, because getting all the electrical understood has allowed us to grow.
Expand,
And so you've been critical to our success, frankly.
It's really nice there.
Yeah, it's been a really good journey for sure, man. And, I commend you, Mike, for, everything that you do there, man. I feel like every move you make, it enhances the facility and even just your character and what you attract to the Elbow Room. Like, I've seen so many different over the years, celebrities and different people come in and
Kind of wild, huh?
Yeah, I remember a few times, even before Jerry Tarkanian passed away, man. Like, he was always in there, man.
Oh God, Jerry was. If he was in town, he was there 7 nights a week.
I remember seeing him come out of there one time, and I was like kind of starstruck, with his towel.
It was kind of wild. He was in every night, had the entourage. He'd be in with Rob Soroyan and Mike DeManuel Sr. I mean, a whole bunch of people. And Jerry Tarkanian, for being so famous, was so nice to everybody.
Yeah.
Really?
Even if the Fresno Bee was writing crummy things about him, all the bee writers were hanging out in there. Jerry was still nice to him when he could have been a jerk, right? But no, it's been great. Like when you guys come in, you'll see it from kids. You can bring your family. You'll see them from kids to 90 years old. The big thing, and like yourself, you guys are ultra quality company. We just don't skimp on the quality. I always tease the kitchen, let's not screw this up. We're buying the best product. And it always starts there. And I work on the theory, don't insult the customer. They know when it tastes good. And the difference between buying average meat and we buy the best, it's not enough money difference to buy cheap.
Right.
That's short-term thinking. So, and I think we're a better restaurant. I mean, Daniel McGee's my general manager, and now he's a business partner of mine, junior partner. He's really dynamic. Eric Rodriguez, who's our chef de cuisine. Eric, I met accidentally in the Elbow Room. He moves to Fresno. He was the executive chef at McCormick and Schmick's, which is like a Fleming's, or Ruth Chris in San Jose, very famous steakhouse. And Eric is sitting in the booth right as you go out to the patio, and I'm just going table to table saying hi, and I meet him. And we didn't have a position at the time, but I got him a job somewhere else, and he didn't really care for it. He came back. Very humble. He says, I'll just go cook on the line. Now, this is a guy that ran the training facility, the training restaurant.
High-level guy.
And his humility was incredible. Well, since Eric joined the team, we've just gotten better and better. And it's no different than, your team having reliable, knowledgeable, caring staff.
Right.
That's allowed you to get,
Right.
bigger. And it took us a while, because again, we're like we're a 7-day-a-week operation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can appreciate you, Mike, because obviously I have your direct cell phone number and things, but when anytime like I'm in the middle of conversations with people and they're like, hey, we're going to have this business meeting, or hey, we got some people flying in from out of state to put on this lunch or this whatever. I know a couple of times I've been able to just call you, man, and I'm like, hey, Mike, I got this important thing going on, and you cease to amaze me, man. Like, I got my best people on it, just get it all set up, and the Elbow Room has been a business meeting place for a lot of people, man. I mean, a lot of contracts on cocktail napkins, man.
No, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
So whenever I'm there, we do a lot of our meetings there also, man. The meet and greets and all that stuff. But I always see just high level people there all the time. You've did a fantastic job of creating that atmosphere for businesses as well, man.
Hector, I so appreciate that, because you and B, you're doing me the favor. I'm not doing you the favor by having a restaurant. And that is an orientation that was discussed and trained with me 45, almost 50 years ago. So I love it when you call me, or if you text me, say, hey, Mike, it's done. I mean, there's not even a question. Look, we're friends, but first and foremost, you call me, you're my customer. I am here to take care of you.
Right.
No ifs, ands, or buts. Because again, I'm not doing you the favor. You're gracing me by being there. My job is to do the details and to make it so that you walk away going, you know what, boy, that was dynamite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you always know how you feel.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
We were talking about that this morning, just the power of serving.
Yeah.
And, telling our guys, like, it's important to be good at it.
Yes.
Because that's what we're here for.
Yeah.
Well, it shows, because, I know we're on a podcast. I'm just telling you straight. All of your individuals that work with you, they care. I love having them in the building. They're not just there to do a job. I always feel like they're a representative, of Hector and B. Pino, because you can't fake that.
Yeah.
And that's why your business is so successful. That is not an accident.
That's right.
And it's always about the people.
Yeah.
And it's kind of funny, I'm proud to own the Elbow Room, but I got to tell you what, it's not the Mike Shirinian show. There's 100 of us that work together.
Really?
And there's a lot of, part-time and full-time.
Yeah.
And I'm back in the kitchen every single day with our staff there, because they're the engine that makes this thing go.
Right.
And I got great dishwashers. I worked the equivalent of 2 jobs, and I so respect the men and women that are back there. We have 3 husband and wife couples that work on our culinary kitchen staff.
Wow.
I mean, and then one of, Israel, his daughter is going to be, I believe, coming to work for us as well. So that says a lot, and we want to maintain a work environment. We pay well, but it goes beyond that, because I make sure that everybody knows they're valued.
Right.
I can't do it alone.
I believe I've watched you, Mike. I've sitting having dinner with you, or you coming to our table, and just while we're there at the Elbow Room, and I've learned some things from you, man. I'm very observant about how you treat your people. You do good with laying down the law when it comes to when they need it, but you also do good in reaching out. Reaching in your pocket and awarding them for doing good of your own personal money, not
I do that
quite often. I've seen it a lot, man,
Yeah.
and you know what? I learn from you, and I do it too, man.
Yeah.
And I thank you for that, man.
Yes,
Well,
definitely.
I have learned from you, because when I see the professionalism, you guys are pulled in so many directions. You have a lot of customers, and there's never been one time where I felt like, oh boy, I don't know, we're they're not going to make it, or they don't care. I've never had that feeling one time, and it starts with Eric Bayless, because Eric goes, listen, just take it to the bank. Hector and B, electric power source. Boom, got to be.
Yeah.
So that's it.
Thank you, man. Yeah.
And I feel blessed to have you as friends and our vendor, because we cannot do it without you.
Yeah.
Not even maybe.
And I'm grateful for Eric, like 100-fold I am, man. Eric has been a part of my life for a long time, and I can't thank him enough for the opportunities that he and his wife and even Ben, man, that they bring to us, and they're amazing people, man. I've always told Eric that Eric's been in some situations past where people either slow pay him or don't want to pay him, and he knows who I'm talking about. And when he watches this, he's going to smile. But Eric has told me, just give me some time. You know what, no, Eric, if you're going to take it in the chin, I'm going to take it in the chin with you, man, because I'll stand with you, because it's not right. And I'm that kind of a person, man. You know what I mean?
No maybes. You are for sure, and Eric speaks of you that way.
Yeah.
In fact, we had dinner together the other night, and we were talking about a lot of things, and Donna, his wife, and my wife have been dear friends like forever.
Yeah.
And then Eric and I met a long time ago, and then I didn't see him for a while, so we reconnected. And yeah, Eric he's straight up. He'll tell you the way it is, but he'll also, he's helped me as well. If I was in a situation,
right,
and then those are. People that'll just tell you the straight story.
Yeah.
That's worth its weight in gold, because, look, we're all big kids, and if we got to work through a problem, hey, we work through it.
Yeah.
But we stay loyal, and
right.
and I'm very grateful to him as well.
Hands down, he's a great man. Yeah,
he's a beauty.
Him and his wife. One thing I wanted to ask you, Mike, and I know we talked about it before, but in the restaurant, man. I'm sure everybody wants to wonder, who are all these people on this mural?
Oh, the murals.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's really a cool question. So it's late 1996, and we're doing the build out in Fig Garden Village. So check this out. You being in construction, so we get the approval. I get the money loaned to me from Bob Longetti Regency Bank. Stephen Rick Nisbet from Cambridge Homes, now Lennar, says, yeah, we'll do the build-up. We start on Thanksgiving Day.
Wow.
Had to gut it, and we were open March 3rd.
Oh.
Now, gutted the whole thing, including, you've been there, okay?
Yeah.
So check this out. The two inspectors, plumbing and electrical, you got to open the wall up and the floor. You got to show them, right? Here's the plans. These guys, they were also connected in terms of they knew they weren't getting jacked around. They were in there, and they're going, oh, is that what you're going to do? Yeah. Oh, yeah, okay, great. They signed it off. And this thing just sailed. So now we're about a month out from opening, and Conrad Jimenez, who has Art Conrad Design. So Conrad does hospital designs, and he lives right near the Elbow Room, but his company he did all the original design work for the Elbow Room, okay? Inch by inch, the whole bit, and does design work. He's gotten really big, but Conrad and I are talking at the old Elbow Room, and again, we're about a month out, and I said, look at all the regulars. So you got kind of a who's who.
Yeah.
Oh, there's John Broskios on KMJ, and they would come over after being on the air and what have you, and just great people. Carol Reed, and I could go on and on. So we got all these people. Isaac Sanchez is a dear friend of mine forever. So we got these folks there, and I go, why don't we paint a mural of the regulars, but let's not tell them?
Oh.
Okay? So Conrad says, I can do that. Because Conrad, not only is he a top musician and a designer, he's an artist. Conrad Jimenez can do everything. He's amazing.
Yeah.
So Conrad's in there the next couple of days. Oh, here's Hector and V taking pictures. People go, why are you taking our pictures? Well, you know what? We're just going to put the pictures up, and kind of make a collage. Who used to do that? Julia's Italian restaurant used to put everybody's picture up on a wall.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Here's who'd been here. You'd walk in. And so people thought that's what we were doing. Well, Conrad was taking your picture, and the mural that sits over the booths when you walk in to the right was all the regulars from 1996, and it's a who's who. Jerry Tarkanian's in it.
Yeah.
Jim Sweeney.
Yeah.
It was, you can go right on down the row. Sadly, some of those folks are no longer alive. So now we move in, and it was a Monday, and we unveil it, and it's like 10 deep at the bar. It's like New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
It's a Monday. But there'd been this big buildup, and here's the mural.
Yeah.
Then a few years later, we do a second mural, and it was a bunch of other customers, and that mural is there as well. And then outside on the soffit above the bar, we had Conrad did that as well. Now yesterday, okay, which was Thursday, Will Forath and Matt Cernilia and Steve Cernilia, who are really cool guys, and Tim Jones, attorney and big developer, and so we have a new mural right as you're walking to the restrooms inside.
Oh, yeah.
And we unveiled it last night.
Really?
And it's kind of like, you're part of the Elbow Room history. It's a legacy piece.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
it is.
So what started as me and Conrad Jimenez kind of shooting the shit at the end of the bar, looking at all of our regulars, hey, how's it going? And we're having fun. Let's do something kind of over the top. And Conrad, like I said, he's an unbelievable artist. You want to get hooked up with somebody that knows the history of rock and roll and music as it goes back in Fresno to the 40s and 50s. I mean, he's like an encyclopedia.
That's the guy, yeah.
No, Conrad, yeah. So I'm going to let Con know, how to hook up.
Yeah.
Because giving him a shout out is really, really important because he's so integral to why the Elbow Room is the Elbow Room.
Oh, wow.
And then our
They
other.
have them on too.
Yeah, we're
Oh
gonna
no,
bring him
Conrad!
on.
Oh,
Yeah.
listen, Conrad Jimenez would be
Yeah.
he'd be righteously great to have on. He's done historical things for Fresno,
Wow.
for the Japanese community
Yeah.
at the fairgrounds and different things. And he would be super interesting
Yeah.
to have on here.
I'd love to have them.
Yeah, he's a cool dude. He's
Yeah.
really great.
That is so
But
awesome.
your question about the mural, that's
Yeah.
it's really timely because we unveiled the most recent one, and it had been, oh my God, the one outside on the soffit that was probably done, I don't know, 8 or 9 years ago. So I had to kind of give Conrad a wink and a nod and say, come on, I really need you. And the people in this mural, a lot of them are the young guns. They're young professionals, but they're part of our history.
Yes, of course.
Everybody's part of our
That's
history.
legacy, right?
Yeah.
Too, man. And
Yeah, it's a
like-
legacy piece.
Yeah, absolutely.
Part of your brand for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
Mike, what is I mean, shoot, man, you told us a lot of your history from, man, when you're 19 years old to where you're at today. And so how much harder are you going to keep on going? Because you work still like you're a young man.
Yeah, you know what? It's funny. Yeah, my wife, I've got a world-class great wife, Christine.
Yeah.
She runs a financial planning company. I just really like what I do, and I've got a great combination of young people and veterans. And you know what? When I was 21 or 22, the older people like I am now, they're saying things like, these young kids aren't any good. You know what? That's baloney. I've got great young people on our staff. You just got to find them. And, it's funny because we have like 3 kids they're not kids now, they're in their early 20s, but they're all from the same family. At one time, we had their aunt and the nieces and nephews. We had like 5 or 6 from the same family because I work on the theory, that if B, you're good. Do you have a brother or sister? Yeah, I do.
That's a good idea.
And then there's a little peer pressure, like B says to sister, brother, hey, listen, if you go to work there where I'm at, you better make it happen. So, I see us expanding the Elbow Room, okay, because we need to make the kitchen bigger to the north behind us.
Okay.
So you'll be involved in that. Ron Price, who's our architect,
Okay.
and what have you, Ron's drawing that footprint. I'm going to be meeting with ownership of the center. We have new ownership. And then we're going to build out to the west, okay, as you come behind that other patio.
The smoke
Probably-
shop's at?
Yeah, so we're going to enclose that and then open the door back up from the kitchen to go out there. So, we'll have electrical needs
Wow.
certainly for that. Because for us to grow, I see us on a path to grow another 30 or 40%. And we've got what I believe is great new ownership. A gentleman named Dan Giordano represents an entity called DRA out of Manhattan.
Oh, wow.
And then Jennifer Duarte is the head of Center Cal, which is the junior ownership partner. They're here in California. They will run the center. And I believe they're going to restore Fig Garden Village
Really?
back. I mean, it's a really nice place, but they're going to do a lot of deferred maintenance and really get it elevated up. And like I said, I'm meeting with them Monday to get the ball rolling because we need to make it bigger in the kitchen. You've been in there, you know how tiny that is. I mean, our kitchen would be sized properly for about a 4,000 square foot restaurant. We're 11,500 feet, including the patios.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we're going to want to retrofit the main patio like we did on the west side
Yeah.
with garage doors,
Yes.
better cooling and what have you. So, all of these things, I'm just on this path to help my young staff develop. My oldest stepdaughter's Jessica Atikian, who has a 17-month-old, my grandson. She's my banquet manager and special events, and she worked for me. This is a great example where, you can hire your relatives and they're good, because she worked for me from 16 till almost 21. Then she went to work for Scott and Katie Beal when they owned Mercedes-Benz. So she was their youngest person and a female, just kicking ass at Mercedes for a couple of years. And then they had a change of ownership.
Yeah.
She elected to leave. I said, please come back. So last October, she joined the team, and she's a great example. She just turned 25 this past week. She's a great example of, if you're good, you're good.
Yeah.
Right.
You could be
Yeah.
50 years old and not be good.
Yeah.
Okay, just because you had experience, maybe it's bad experience.
Right,
So
right.
she is a great manager, and so she is building the business and growing it. And so we've got a clear path on how we're going to get from where we are to 40-50% bigger.
Mike, like you talk about your team being good and how they excel, but in a lot of ways, in my opinion, man, it's like you're the captain steering the boat, man, and so the expectation that you have for them is great, man, and so they have to, people that care, at least they have to see your vision, man.
Yeah.
You're a good visionary.
Yeah.
You're a very good visionary, man, and so every time I sit down and have a talk with you, man, I always feel like I'm picking up and I'm gleaning from your knowledge, man.
Likewise.
So thank you, man.
Well,
Thank you.
I learned from you as well. I watch very closely, and I just know that I need to get better. You kind of asked me, you did ask me, kind of where am I at? Well, my mental set consciously to myself is I'm still 45. So I'm doing. No,
I just turned 45.
Yeah.
Last
You guys are the
week.
same age.
Yeah. But you know what? I'm up at 5:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's get showered. Let's go. Let's get down there. My job is to hopefully be really helpful to have my staff know that I believe in them. I talk to them. I actively say, I believe in you. You are really good. Don't worry about what you don't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's good.
Hey, when I started at 26, I'm a so-called owner and a manager. I should have been scared to death, but you know what? I just went out and said, you know what? If I take care of the customer, I'll figure out the back end of it.
Yeah.
I didn't know what I was doing really business-wise. These guys showed me a lot, but you know how it goes. How do you maneuver this, that, and banking and the whole bit? So I needed to learn a lot behind the scenes, but what I did know was you walk in the door, you're the center of the universe. And I live by three things that I talk to all of my staff about, because fundamentally, one, the customer is the purpose of your work, not an interruption of your work. So
Right.
never act too busy. The second thing is treat everybody like you had them over to your house.
Mm-hmm.
And the third thing is do something each day to make a new guest. In other words, it could be a simple courtesy. It could be some little old guy that wants to know where the restroom is. Hey, I might take him by the elbow. Come on, let me walk you. Let me get you there. You think about, we might have 20 people working on the floor at one time at a busy time. If you think about the exponential growth that you could have if every one of the 20 people did something that day where the guest walked out going, God, that made me feel good, or it was different.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah.
From when I bought the Elbow Room, it had been a long-standing brand, and the people that I bought it from had other business interests. So they were very good, but they had lost interest, and the business had declined. So when I bought it, I had to go make it happen one customer at a time. I didn't have a hostess. Hector, you and B walk in. I'm seating. I'm taking the reservations. We didn't even have a hostess stand, right? It was like great. And then I'm back in the kitchen. Hey, Hector and B are here. Hey, I know what they like. Send this. But it was all of us. Liz Noble was on my staff. She's retired now. Anne Marie Ruiz. We worked together since 1992. Joanne Misquez. Debbie Brooks, Gary Wong. I mean, I can go down the list, and those people are still with us, showing the younger team how to do it.
Yeah.
But it's those three simple principles. Give me somebody that's lined up correct mentally.
Watch out.
Okay, we can teach them.
Yeah.
If they don't, it's either a want to or a can't issue.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right.
If they want to, great. If they can't, if they don't want to, you can't fix them.
Right.
If they can't do it, but they want to, well, we can coach them up.
Yeah.
So it's either that kind of an issue, and so I'm very intentional.
Yeah.
About Honor Johnson, who's one of the family. We've had multiple family members. Her, Emerson Pereira. These are two young women on our staff. Emerson's a manager. She came from another restaurant, Five Restaurant. Pat and Marina LaRocca own it. She had been there for years. They just didn't have a spot for her to move up. It wasn't because she wasn't good or not because they didn't like her. She ended up coming to us, worked briefly as a hostess, which is what she had been doing. And then we move her to an expediter, learning the food, and then a server. And we all said, you know what? This woman's got it.
Yeah.
So now she's a manager. Honor Johnson. I've had 5 or 6 of her relatives at least.
Wow.
She started with me at 16, and then COVID hit. Now she's in her in her 20s, and she's somebody that she is a waitress as well as a shift leader. So we're grooming her throughout the restaurant. Aaron Myers on our staff. Aaron has a tremendous background. His dad, Adam's a great chef, and Aaron brings so much to the table because he's done everything from Copper River Country Club to Table Mountain and what have you. So he's got diverse experience. And then, saving the best for last, I guess, is Daniel McGee, because Daniel, I used to do business with his grandfather, Bud, at the Silver Dollar. And then Steve McGee, who's still an attorney in town, this is his son, Daniel. And I met Daniel. I knew him when he was little. I hadn't seen him for years. Now he's like 6'3", and he's a grown man.
Yeah.
And I meet him at a Rotary banquet event at Copper River Country Club 7 years ago, and I get reintroduced, and I just loved what he was doing, and so I was able to recruit him, and he's been a key player that not only has made it better now, but he will help lead us in the future.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That all goes back. I was listening to your story right now, man, and just, the serving piece, right? Like I was, like B mentioned, we were talking to our group this morning during our morning huddle, and I was telling them about that. We're all sent here on earth, one way or another to serve, at some capacity, right? You serve your kids, you serve your parents, you serve people.
Yeah.
And if we can understand that we're here to serve, and if we get a revelation of what that means, man, like, why not do it at such a high level, man?
Yeah.
If you want to impact lives, man, go and serve people, man. And I believe that 100%, man. And Mike, you do that at the utmost, man. Because I know I do feel special when I go there. I feel like man, these people know me. They care about me. They see about me. Whenever you see us, you come in, you greet us. I mean, and that's just your nature and character. But it's part of your paradigm now. You know what I mean? It's what you do.
Well, I have gratitude. I have humility.
Yes.
It's far beyond me, and I'm at a point where I love the way you stated that, because everything else is just stuff. Mm-hmm. We've all had good times. We've all had rough times, and you love each other, having family, having friends that are truly your friends, and then having a sense of, what's my legacy. I mean, I don't sit down every day going, "What's my legacy?" But I want to live my life where hopefully somebody says, Mike really cared.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. And if I do make a misstep, I want to fix it beyond fixing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
So I think I'm more intentional, and I think about those things. So in terms of gratitude, and humility, those are important things.
Very, very important, man. I know not just for our community, Mike. The impression that you've made. But even on our lives, your handprints are on our lives, man.
I feel the same
Thank
way,
you.
and I'm so appreciative that you asked me to come down, and I'm just kind of like more than a little bit impressed that you're thinking on this level. You're reaching out in the community. I'm appreciative for you even wanting to have me down.
No, you're doing us such a big favor.
No, this is great, and these are friendships that will go, forever.
Lifetime.
And
Yes.
you know what? I'm just gonna keep it rolling.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be one of those old guys, that are sitting around going, well, here's what I used to do. That,
Nobody wants to do that.
that's hey, yesterday was yesterday. Let's get it on and go. And
Yeah.
that's a mindset. And like I said, I got two great stepdaughters. Olivia's the youngest, and she works at iMedical, going to college. And like I said, Jessica, the oldest, and my wife runs Elevator Financial Services. And it's fun. I'll tell you a funny story. When we moved into the new Elbow Room, now nobody, going from the old location to Figart Village, now nobody in their right mind, and this is when you're on short money, you would never close on Sunday and open the next day in the new place. I mean, we were doing everything in parallel. So right?
Yeah.
I mean, you would take 2 or 3 weeks or a month. You would budget the money and say, look, okay, we're going to do test runs. We're going to have the Pinots in with 50 other people. We're going to try the food out. We literally closed one day and opened the next day. So check this out. So it's 5:00, and we opened for dinner. We didn't open for lunch, but because we needed to ramp up. So, from mid-afternoon on, man, the bar's open, and man, people are, they know it's happening, so they're there. They want to be a part of it. So my wife at the time's working at Merrill Lynch, and we were not married at that time. So, but we're dating. I see her walk in. I wave. She's got her business suit on, like you look just sharp, and I see her take her jacket off. She goes where the pass window is, where the food comes out. And in those days, instead of having KDS, screens like a computer, you're hanging handwritten tickets.
Yeah.
And I see her take a ticket. I see her at the food, puts it on a tray, and I see her hoist the tray with one hand and the jack stand in the other hand. She goes over to the table, sets it down. I didn't know that she had worked at a restaurant, which is now the Spaghetti Factory on Shaw. It was the Hungry Tiger, which was a very elevated, expensive seafood restaurant in Fresno.
Wow.
And I go, oh my God, now I know I love this. It was like, are you kidding? And going back, you being in construction, okay, now check this out. Again, limited money.
Right.
And Ralph Francis, God rest his soul, helped with the equipment, and securing and my wife Christine and I, she'd come over on her break and lunchtime. We've got colored chalk. I had measured the old Elbow Room on the distance from the booths to the bar, from the bar top to the soffit, because I wanted to use all the same materials.
Yeah.
It didn't look then like it does now.
Yeah,
now
it,
it's got the mahogany look and all that jazz. No, we had to build a Chevrolet, because it was a Chevrolet, and that's the money I had. Okay, no offense to Chevy out there. So we are chalking out where the booths are going to go, and we got a tape measure. I mean, geez, you just wouldn't. That's so okey doke. But when you got no money,
right,
you do that. And we laugh about this.
By any means, man.
Yeah, hey, whatever it
By
takes.
any means, yeah.
In fact, we are ready. We are ready to open within days. I've just flashed on this. So they allowed us to build out a little patio. So it went out about 15 feet, not the big patio that you got us all wired up on now. And I think I had the ability to put 6 tables out there. Now, here's where the budget was like finito, no money. Mm-hmm. I had to go to Cresco, which at the time sold used equipment and furniture. So I'm buying used table bases. These are like 10 cents on the dollar.
Yeah.
The tabletops were the right size, but they were all scarred up. So we load them in a truck, we bolt them together, we put them out there, I go, geez, those look terrible. But I didn't have the money to get new ones. Yeah. So now we go down, it was Long's Drugstore at the time, and we're buying vinyl tablecloths. And then you know what the chairs were? Those resin chairs like you'd stack up.
Oh, yeah.
They were probably $2 a piece then.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Cliff Titillion, that owns the shopping center at Palm and Nice.
Yeah.
Cliff's there, he's wandering through, and Cliff goes, what are you doing for office furniture? I go, we don't have, because he saw what I was doing out there. He goes, great, I'll deliver over a desk. So he delivered over like one of those school desks from like 1960. All 3 of us could stand on it. It was built like a battleship. Yeah. And then there was a tree on the patio, and Cliff says, God, that tree's cool. What are you going to do with it? I said, I don't know. So Cliff is drawing with a pencil on the wall the tree, okay, like freehand, and he's going, why don't you build, a stand-up bar? And so it had metal struts, and then we cemented it. So Jim Carlino was the super for Cambridge Homes, and so from that picture on the wall, we abstracted it, and then it was built. So many of these things that everybody must have thought it was all on the fly. Yeah, and then we got open on that Monday, and then it was just haul ass from there. And don't look back. And
what a story, man!
I got to tell you what it was. It was so. What are we going to do now? And then 10 minutes later, what about that? And so it was. There is no time to worry about it. It's like, no, we're making a decision now.
Yeah.
Let's get it on and go. And the bottom line on all of it was, the minute somebody walks in the door, we're just making it great for you.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out. The rest of the stuff, the paperwork, we'll get to that later.
Mike, one of the greatest quotes ever said, and it makes me feel like a certain way, man. But I heard it said like this, man. It says it's not about the destination, man. It's about the journey.
Yeah.
Yeah. And think about that. Where you started, and everything that's happened in between, and to where you're at today, and you're still not done.
Not done.
You're still not done,
no.
man.
And I think, what, for me, I really think about how do I make myself better. I want to really make sure that I want to do a better job impacting everybody around me. I think about that a lot.
100%. That's great stuff, man.
I just love you having me down. This was great.
Thank you.
In
so
Easton,
much.
I love it.
In the great city of Easton, great town of Easton.
In fact, I just remember that it was Leonard Kazarian and his dad Jake. They had J&J service.
Yeah.
J&J
up on South. That's where the district office is at now.
That was the Kazarian family. God, they're wonderful people. Leonard is still around. He does some real estate and stuff, and and his brother Norm. They got a great family. But no, there's cool people in Easton. And someday I'll tell you a story about we're catering at the Portuguese Hall over here, and one of our chefs and I were cooking it for like 80 people, and thank God we had backup steaks as the barbecue got out of hand. We damn near burned the house. It was one of those stories we're going, oh God Almighty, because you got people ready to eat. I'm going, oh boy, we're in trouble. Thank God I had backup steaks. Darn near. Yeah, every time I drive through, I flash on that. For sure, man.
Well, this is our hometown. We live out here, and I've been here for a lot of years, man. All my life, for the most part. But
salt of the earth folks down here, and you're a big part of the community. You're a big part of Fresno's community, and hey, there's a lot of building going on. That's exciting.
Yeah.
Now's your time to keep shining and kick ass and take names.
Right, we're doing our best, Mike. Mike, it was so great to have you on, man. I appreciate you coming, man.
Alan. I appreciate you.
We love you,
Hector,
man.
I love you too.
Yeah, man.
Awesome. You and your families be well.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're doing good. Thank you, man. So that concludes our episode, guys. I hope you guys enjoy it, and till next time, God bless.